What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today is finally the day. We got to talk about it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the AtGames 4KP. Oh, AtGames, definitely a company that I've had a love-hate relationship for quite a while. I've been a late adopter to their products. They had a whole HD line of pinball machines and arcade machines that I didn't really jump in on. I had their single-player arcade stick, whatever it was, the solo, what I can't keep up with it all. The AtGames Junior, who knows? But I finally decided to jump in on this because I finally got my hands on one. I went to Pinball Expo, saw the 4KP on display. A lot of people were excited about it. I got to check out the different versions and the variations, the different games, the experience overall, the SSF kit, the non-SSF kit. And I thought that for the money, for the price, I thought it was a pretty good product. And it's definitely something that, if you're looking for an arcade that has sort of a well-rounded offering of games, virtual pinball is something you definitely want to have for sure to kind of satisfy everybody who may be visiting the arcade. So, finally decided to get one, wanted to get one that was kind of an homage, or sort of a throwback to original arcade or an original pinball from back in the day. This is a table that most people consider this to be the simplest of all pinball machines. The attack from Mars, pretty simple, shot straight up the middle, and that is exactly my speed. Plus, the colors and the look of it is not bad. So I thought that this is the one I decided to go with. Went ahead and skipped the SSF kit because, for a $400 add-on, the thing better be good. I think it's good, but I don't know if it justifies the price. And of course, that was an option I could always upgrade to at some other time. So I got the version that came with the 15 games. It came with the topper. That was good enough for me. Also, OTG was unlocked. I thought that that was probably the best way to go. There's the cheaper version, the starter kit. Doesn't come with the marquee, or the topper, I should say. Only comes with one game. Doesn't come with OTG unlocked. And it's like $12.50. But if I'm gonna do it, you might as well go ahead and do it. The way I used to do things, middle of the road. But I thought this was the best compromise. And not really knowing, not really being in the ecosystem of the AtGames, I was kind of apprehensive. But I did it. Took the chance and did it. And for the most part, the thing showed up without issue, with the exception of the topper itself. There was a big crack, but I was able to get in touch with AtGames. They sent me a replacement. It wasn't super easy. They wanted a bunch of information, but listen, I get it. You're probably, I don't know what the profit margin is on this machine. Maybe it's a little low, and the topper isn't exactly a cheap item. They wanted me to send it back, and they wanted, my DNA sample and all the information on the actual sale and the purchase of this item. Gave it to them. They sent me a new topper. Everything was fine. The overall condition was really, really good. I know a lot of people, I was concerned about some of the images, the shipping damage. Machines jacked up and broken and cracked and all these issues and problems, some major issues. I had none of that. No problems whatsoever. The only issue I had was the little D-pad right here. Now, something very simple you would think to correct. And I got back with AtGames, told them about the issue, told them about the problem. A community member was actually working for AtGames at the time, helped me out like no other. Super happy to have that contact. Sent me almost everything that I needed to make this little D-pad work. And it helped, but it still doesn't quite work perfectly. Even to this day, the left directional pad, the left direction on the D-pad doesn't work at all. Frustrating. Not the end of the world, but it is kind of frustrating. So I get the machine. Obviously, first thing I want to do is make it a little bit custom, slightly different, something that is just mine. And one of the modifications that I wanted to do, if you're a fan of the channel, you know what I did. Painted all the metal trim. I actually didn't paint all the metal trim. I had the metal trim powder coated, legs included, with that lime green color. And this is sort of an homage to the LE version, limited edition version of this original pinball machine from back in the day. And then the one thing that I did paint were the speaker rings around the speakers. Just painted those red, kind of having the red and green kind of theme going on. Also did all stainless steel hardware, and it looks really good. And it plays well. It's not going to blow your mind, but the sound is really pretty good. for what it is. No SSF kit, but still, the sound is pretty good. Good, strong feedback from the flippers, right? The fake solenoids, and that's all good. The playfield, I wish it was a little bit crisper, a little bit more 4K, but for the most part, it's fine. It's definitely serviceable. It's a great place to start, especially if you're going to enter into the world of VPNs and you want to be sub $2,000. All in though, what I got before I started downloading tables and all that stuff, $1,600, $1,500 for the machine, $100 to ship it. The powder coating and paint wasn't that big a deal. I think this ended up being about $50. I know a guy who knows a guy, so it's always important to know a guy who knows a guy. Got the powder coating done for like $50. It was no big deal. And then the paint here was just the cost of one can of spray paint. Went to buy stuff and got this cool matte finish graphic here for the control panel. Looks way better than that glossy AtGames 4K piece stock look. And away you go. So I'm downloading tables. I got my machine slightly customized. I'm having a great time. The tables, for the most part, they're hit and miss. So what can you do? But they're not super expensive, so I'm having a good time. Then the problems start to arise. And it's in the most preventable way possible. It comes in the form of software updates to the machine. You update your machine because you think that's what you're supposed to do. In fact, it's what you have to do to gain access to all the tables that you've downloaded. If you want to get access to those packs, you've got to update your machine, you got to log in, you got to do all this stuff, right? And like I said, that's where the issues show up. This is what happens. You lose the ability to log in, and when you can't log into your machine, you can only play the games that came included with the machine. So the 15 tables, great. But if you wanted that sweet Williams pack that you purchased, or maybe you like the rare pack with the Killer Instinct, you can't play that because you can't log into your machine. Now, I had to jump through hoops to deal with this problem. The first problem was simply that I just couldn't log into my machine. And I tried the QR code. That didn't work. When you submit a ticket to AtGames, they send you an email saying, yeah, we know it doesn't work. We're working on it. Stop telling us about it. That's not what I wanted to hear when my $1,600 machine wouldn't play all the tables that I downloaded from your website. Had to reach out to a community member who used to work for AtGames, told me about a second website I needed to go to reset my password and be able to log into my machine. It was very frustrating. But after, I guess, about 2 weeks, I was able to log back in and everything was fine. No issue, no problem. Until the next update happened. And the next update happens, and it's the same thing all over again, except now they're asking for an order number, the original order number from when I ordered this machine. When I purchased this machine from their website, I had to supply that number. Not the end of the world, but still another unnecessary hurdle that I have to jump or I have to clear to simply play the tables that I've already paid for. That's frustrating. So dig through my emails, find it, input it, and I'm fine. I was the lucky one. There were other people, many people in the community, that found that number, put in that number, and that number didn't register with AtGames. So they were locked out of their machine. They can still play the games that came with the table or with the machine. They can still play those tables, but they could not play any of the tables that they downloaded. All those pinball packs were rendered completely useless. You can see them, but you can't play them. All because of a login error. Some people eventually got these things fixed. Some people haven't. Some people went weeks, months without access to all those tables that they downloaded. And that's a really big deal if you sprang for or you went cheap, I should say, and got the standard version, the cheaper version, that just included one table. Talk about a kick in the pants, right? You spend all that money downloading all those tables only to have access to one. And that's the original one that came with the machine. Now, I have a machine that came with 15 games, so it's not the end of the world for me, but still, you pay a lot of money for all those pinball packs, you deserve access to that. And why don't you have access to it? Because you're dealing with a company that's completely incompetent, and they roll out updates without fully testing the update itself and all the consequences thereof, the goods, the bads, and everything. I think, and it's just my personal opinion, work for AtGames. I don't really know anybody that works at AtGames anymore. AtGames apparently has been firing people left and right. I get the impression that AtGames is so concerned that someone has stolen something from them, whether they bought a machine secondhand and they have access to some tables that someone else downloaded, or whatever the case may be. They're so concerned that somebody stole $100 worth of pinball packs that they're willing to brick everybody's machine in an effort to stop this from happening. It's a weird paranoid delusion that I just don't understand. It's one thing if you sell a product at a super cheap price that you're obviously not making any money on, and all your money is tied up in downloadable titles. But even in that case, it's still inexcusable. But you're selling a machine for, I mean, the lowest way, the lowest bar to clear is $1,350 in the US. $1,350. It's $1,250 for the machine, another $100 to ship it to your house. That's the lowest. The barrier of entry is just that low. And that's unacceptable to then lock somebody out of their machine. So where I'm at now is that I've come to this conclusion. This is my opinion. If you want to buy this machine, buy the machine that I have right here. Go ahead and get the topper because it looks cool and it definitely adds some height to the machine itself. Also, if you get this version, it's going to come with 15 tables. Make sure you get the 15 tables that you like. And then stay with that. If you're happy with the 15 tables that come on the machine and the artwork package and the topper, and if you're happy with this at that price, then do it. Absolutely go ahead and get it. Because for a VPin, for a virtual pinball machine, to have all this packed in for that much money is not terrible. It's not super cheap, but it's not bad. But if you want to get this thing for that super cheap bargain basement price of $1,250 plus $100 for shipping, thinking that you're just going to download a bunch of tables and everything's going to be fine, life's going to be good, maybe you want to pay extra and go ahead and get the topper and all that, you're going down a wrong path. Because at any moment, at any time, AtGames could just pull the rug right out from under you and you'll be stuck with the one game that came with the machine. Oh, and by the way, OTG, will that be disconnected also if you can't log into your machine? I think so. So what are you going to do? I think what you got to do is look at this at face value. What comes included with the machine, and will I be happy with just that? The bonus games, the ability to download games, that's going to come and go. That is not rock solid. You can't count on that. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but you just can't. Some people get the machine, have no problems, no issues, everything's fine. A lot of people, not an insignificant amount of customers don't have that experience. They have an experience where they've spent a bunch of money, a bunch of time and effort to get the machine and to do the upgrades, only to find that they're only going to have access to the tables that came with the machine. And for most people, that's just not good enough. Anyway, let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. What has been your experience with AtGames? Am I making a whole bunch of something out of nothing? Or have you had an experience like me where you've been locked out of your machine, losing all access to everything you've downloaded more than once? I really want to know. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. You have a blessed day, and I will see all of you next time. Man, sometimes these companies, they just can't get out of their own way.